Are we live?
Welcome to ComicCast issue number 141, brought to you by Dwayne's World Comics and Games via the Outright Geekery podcast network. Check out Dwayne's World at 457 East Sullivan Street in Kingsport, Tennessee. They carry one of the largest selections of graphic novels, statues, toys, comic books, gaming, merchandise, including miniature games, board games, and RPGs. Dwayne's World Comics and Games, Kingsport, Tennessee. My name is Boogie Bentley.
And I'm Adam Wade Adams.
I'm AKA David.
And Gaumer's missing. We're at ComicCast Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, wherever you get social with your media. Also, if you are listening to this on the S&B Network on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button, leave us a comment, and subscribe. If you want to hear a very, very lovely pre-show, you can go to patreon.com/ComicCastPod. Shout out to Yule Carter already in the chat. Check out his comic shop. Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California, all the way on the other side of the country. What up, Yule? Oh, man. So what's up, guys? Anything fun before we get into it?
Fun.
My brother finally got me my half of the Shadow Spear box set for Warhammer 40K, so I'm happy.
Was that his punishment for being late to Thanksgiving or whatever that drama was?
No, this was something that he was like, "Hey, I want to get this box set. Well, you want to go half on it with me?" I'm like, "Sure. Which half do I get?" He's like, "I want this. I want the Chaos Marines." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll take the Vanguard."
How often do you play 40K?
I stopped playing a long time ago, and I'm slowly getting back into it. But I'm not playing 40K. I'm playing like Kill Team right now.
Yeah, I don't play that, but they're always talking about it or always playing some version of that when we're down at Dwayne's World.
The thing is that there's a new expansion coming for Kill Team that's going to add some new troop types to it, and the Vanguards are one of them. So I've got my Space Marine Vanguard Kill Team now.
What about you? What about you, Adam? You can add in an evil laugh too. Anything exciting? You're
no.
like, oh man, you're gonna make me talk about real life? What the heck is this?
No, nothing really exciting.
Gomer in the chat. This is what it feels like. Gomer, we have no clue what to do. We're talking.
Gomer's in the chat.
We're talking about real life. Let's
Get
talk
out of
about.
there.
Let's talk about Endgame. Adam, you've not seen it yet, and this is spoiler free. So anybody that's worried, don't worry. We're not going to spoil anything. 21 movies, man, over 10 years, and Marvel's going to move on. They're going to do phase 4, but this really did felt like the end. It felt like closure on 10 years of movie making. We can talk about some numbers. Did I see that it's already hit 1.2 billion worldwide? I put that as a question in the chat because I wasn't sure that was accurate.
Everything I've been looking up since you posted that is yes.
Hey, Gomer, in the chat, you still want to bet with me that it's not going to hit 3 billion? Because I think it's going to hit 3 billion.
I don't want to do math.
Dude, 1.2 billion in the first, what?
5 days?
4 or 5 days? It's crazy.
That is.
It's getting good reviews too. 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think the only thing, maybe the only MCU movie above that was Black Panther.
I don't keep track of Rotten Tomatoes, so I couldn't tell you.
I don't pay attention to that stuff because
Rotten Tomatoes is skewed.
Just because it made a lot of money. I don't know. People like to equate making a lot of money to whether or not it's to the quality, and I don't. Awkward silence.
No, I was thinking about how to transition. I can't remember who it was. It was one of the Marvel writers, or I can't remember. No idea. Somebody from Marvel tweeted out after they saw the movie. Listen, you guys think you know what this movie's about, but you have no idea. And that's the way I felt as it was going on. I was like, man, this is not what I expected at all. And
No.
I mean, that made it even better. And just the core group of characters that this whole MCU has been built on, they're all highlighted in this. All of them have bright spots. David, I'll let you go first so I don't steal words out of your mouth. What'd you think when you walked out of the theater?
I thought I needed to see it again. I was so happy to have seen this this whole 10-year plan come to fruition in this one epic movie that I must see this movie again. I was surprised that Jennifer Lawrence made an appearance, but
I don't know if anybody gets that joke because I didn't get it the first time around.
I just felt that Captain Marvel's haircut makes her look like Jennifer Lawrence. Brie Larson was replaced by Jennifer Lawrence halfway through the film.
All right, let me. I'm going to run through some of our chat that we're getting right now. Is that, yes, Yule Carter. I'm not even a Pokemon fan, but I'm actually looking forward to Detective Pikachu.
I am too.
It looks like it's going to be a blast. It's going to be fun. I'm sure Pokemon is one property Disney wishes it could buy. But
give it time. Give it time, Adam.
I have to disagree that money does not equal greatness. Because there's a lot of sleeper hit movies that did not make any money. That I know a lot of people don't like A Christmas Story, but that movie actually technically bombed in theaters.
Dude, it goes back to the old, like everything. We compare everything to wrestling. WrestleMania 3, what was the better match? Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Macho Man, or Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant? If you're talking money, it's that main event. But if you're talking work rate, it's Savage and Steamboat.
Yeah,
money does not equal greatness. I agree with that. You're wrong.
I wasn't going to just attack him.
Hey, check out Yule's store, Fantastic Comics, Berkeley, California.
Yeah.
Let's get back on track. Let's talk about Endgame.
Endgame. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end, and they did not even hint.
I hate that song.
As to it's closing time, David.
I hate that song.
Time.
Okay.
Time to put all your
back in the early 2000s, a favorite rock station in Nashville, Tennessee, became a country music station on April 1st. For 6 hours, that damn song played. I hate that song.
Okay, but anyway, but like what is to come next? Are we going to get the young guard?
You go from here.
Where do you go from here?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's just it. Where do you go from here?
Are we going to get like the younger? Are we going to? I mean, are we going to come right after Endgame, or is it going to be like 10 years later? Are we going to jump into the future? Are we going to get Scott Lang's daughter Cassie?
We've already jumped into the future if you've watched Endgame.
Calm down with the spoilers.
I didn't say how long.
Well, we know one thing's for sure, right? Jeremy Renner's going to do the Hawkeye spinoff on Disney Plus with his daughter, which you see that at the beginning of Endgame in the trailers. You see that. You see him training her. So that's no spoiler. But I think we're about to see a major shift in the way everything happens at Marvel. This whole Disney Plus thing is going to change a lot of stuff.
Wasn't that the whole thing about that was going to happen when we had like Daredevil and Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Jessica Jones, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Peggy Carter, all those shows?
Well, and maybe the Disney Plus thing, maybe Hawkeye is going there so they can do what Adam was saying, bring up these younger characters in the MCU. There is a phase 4, right? I mean, they've already said that there is going to be a phase 4.
Yeah. I just wonder, I mean, this could be a spoil. I don't know, but was Agent Coulson in Endgame at all?
No, he wasn't even in the Age of Ultron. So, that was something that was kind of a disappointment there, too.
Yeah. Then I'm glad he got featured in the Captain Marvel movie then.
Jonathan Jackson says Norman buys Stark Industries and makes Dark Avengers.
I wouldn't be able to stand up, if you know what I mean.
Dude, what's the deal with this? All right. It's in my random reviews presented by collarandelbowbrand.com. Check them out. All your latest greatest professional wrestling merchandise. ComicCast at checkout. Save 10%. I was talking about the new Avengers, Bendis's run. Yeah, there you go. Check out Collar and Elbow. Oh, he puts it up as soon as I lock on him.
Well, stay locked on me. I'll do this.
Check them out.
Yep. And what's that code?
Promo code ComicCast at checkout.
Yep.
Now I forgot what we were talking. Oh, New Avengers. That's one of my random reviews. New Avengers from Brian Michael Bendis. I know you love Bendis, Yule, but you were talking about, me and Gomer were talking about how good New Avengers was, and then you start talking about Dark Avengers, and you start telling me all this stuff that happened in New Avengers. Did you read all that stuff back then? Because if it was coming out now, you wouldn't touch it.
Who did you ask?
You.
Oh, I thought you were talking to David.
I thought you were talking to Yule.
Yule, you want the link? We'll bring Yule in for comic.
No, I did not. I was, I mean, I kind of grazed over some of it as it came out. Like the Mighty Avengers, not so much the New Avengers, but the Dark Avengers I was really interested in, just based on the concept. I would say if the Dark Avengers came out now, I would be very interested in it. As far as the Mighty Avengers or New Avengers, probably not so much, but they did incorporate the Century into the stories, and I like that aspect of it as well.
Well, not to spoil anything again from Endgame, but they did some stuff that shows they're going, for lack of a better term. I said this before, and I don't really like saying it, but I'm going to say it because it is what it is. I don't know what else to call it, but they're going full SJW Marvel. It appears they're doing things that are sending the MCU in the direction that the comic books went. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about from the movie, but then there's other stuff. You know, is Kate Bishop going to show up? I don't know. Is that a dumb decision? The moment I'm talking about, again, I don't want to spoil it. It happened in the comics, and nobody bought it because nobody wants to read that. So they canceled the comic. What's that going to do for the MCU? Is it going to work, or is the same thing going to happen?
These days it's very fickle. I mean, it's an impressive accomplishment that the Marvel and the MCU has kept people's attention for this long up until this point. Because people, I mean, we're in the world, the land, the time of short ends, and you either keep it and if you falter one little bit, people are like, well, I'm interested in this now. That's the way it is. So the fact that they've kept people's attention,
that's why they're at a crucial point right now. They are at a crucial point because so many characters or actors, actresses are walking away. So what can you do? You know, what made Infinity? Yeah, Infinity War was great. Endgame was great. All these movies have been fantastic. But what makes them special is, again, when we left Infinity War, when it came out, it's like, this is great, but it's not just great because it's a good movie. It's great because this has never been done before. Never have you gone 10 years of telling stories and kept people invested. So now when you're bringing different characters and going a different direction, it's very fragile what they're about to go into.
And we're
now in uncharted territory again.
Well,
where do we go from
there
here?
Are similar type properties that they could refer to, kind of, in regard, kind of like, I would almost say, well, with Rocky's story, I would put this entire 10-year story or whatever in as Rocky 1, and now it's, where are you going to try to just to duplicate what you've already done, like Rocky 2?
He's going to have a robot butler that says, "Don't be sad."
Yeah. Or are you going to go to like try to build up other areas? Because most of this, well, it's like, yeah, I mean, what's that song? That song just popped in. Where do you go, my lovely? Woo. It's like, where do you go from here? What do you do, and where do you go that is going to keep the momentum?
Gomer said Spider-Man Homecoming is where you go. No kidding. You were here to
Yeah.
tell you.
Well, I've heard people speculating that Spider-Man: Homecoming might happen in another in an alternate universe.
But we know that, and that's a character we know, and that's fine. We're talking about the major decisions.
Or not Homecoming. It's Far From
Gomer,
Home.
it's Far From Home, you idiot.
Homecoming has already happened,
Get
Gomer.
with the times, Gomer.
Gomer.
You're like 2 years behind.
Jonathan Jackson says next few movies confirmed are Spider-Man, Black Widow, which is a prequel, and the Eternals. Again, Black Widow, kind of like Spider-Man, a character we know, it's a prequel, so we're not advancing this current story. So that's where my questions are.
I was hoping Kang the Conqueror would show up.
I would finally get a good Fantastic Four movie.
Young Avengers. I would love a good Young Avengers story. Because that was good.
Gomer has left the chat.
Gomer, come back, Gomer. We can't do this without you, Gomer.
He's not strapped to his chair like he normally is on Sunday afternoon.
He's sitting there chain smoking cigarettes. He's
Comics Miss explained, I don't think we can get Rocky 4 too.
Rocky 4, man. It's Rocky 4 and Rocky 3 are the best.
Rocky 4.5. What? I like Balboa. Rocky 5.
Think Rocky Balboa is better than the originals? You are a psychopath.
No, it's better than 3.
No, it's not. Use a paper champion.
Everything's better than
and if you look at the story of Rocky 5, it makes sense. That's where they went with it. It ended where it started in a way, but then it didn't work well with audiences, I guess.
Okay, Gomer's bringing up the fact that who will be the overarching villain?
I wanted
big
Kang.
Bad, the big bad. Who's going to be like the next threat to cosmic stability in the next phase of Marvel?
Oh yeah, we do have a Doctor Strange 2 and Black Panther 2, don't we?
Yeah, we have everything.
Is anybody excited for Doctor Strange 2?
Doctor
Strange in Infinity War was great. Yeah. Doctor Strange in his own movie was awful.
Same way I feel about Black Panther.
Man,
what the heck are you talking about?
I felt like Black Panther was awesome in what was the
Civil War?
I thought he was awesome in Civil War. In his own movie, I was not blown away. I preferred him in Civil War.
What the heck, man? I like Black Panther.
Well, that's fine.
Dude, it's up there, man. It's up there for me. I agree, though. It carried over from Civil War.
You said the same thing about Doctor Strange. So I like the Doctor Strange. I love the visual effects of Strange. And when he was in the astral form and stuff like that, that's straight out of the comics.
I think that would be where the next villain would have to come from, is from like the astral plane or something like that.
Like Kang. Kang is from the...
Is he from the future?
Well, he's from the future, but there's also that. I think it also involves the. I'm blanking. Where did Ant-Man go?
The quantum realm.
Quantum realm. Yeah, I think it involved the quantum realm a little bit or something.
Oh, Ant-Man was the other pop that I got in the suit back here.
We couldn't see it because it was so small.
It's not back. It's not back there, jerk. I ordered it. God, calm down. Going back to Endgame. I know, man. This is great. This is great chat. We got 7 in the chat, guys. In the chat, do us a favor. Jump over and smash the like button real quick, and that will help the analytics.
Or just click it.
Video. No, it's better when you smash it, bro.
For Jonathan Jackson, I do know somebody that was kind of upset because they teased Adam Strange at the end of Guardians 2 and haven't done anything with him, because the person was telling me that in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, which I do agree with, was Adam Strange's story. Big story. So they've kind of screwed the pooch there in regards to Adam Strange.
But they could bring him. I mean, they could bring him in. We still have, although I've heard that Guardians 3 is supposed to revolve around Rocket. They could bring him in. I mean, they still haven't mentioned anything about Thanos' brother.
Star Fox?
Star Fox. I mean, they could easily bring him in for an angle.
Think that would work, though?
You killed my brother. Well, he was trying
Prepare
to destroy
to die.
all of life.
I am Antonio. you you killed
Do
my
a barrel
father.
roll.
I don't remember
anything
that
else we
speech.
want to add before we move on?
Um,
Especially David. David, anything else?
I don't know what to say about the next phase of Marvel. I'm just happy that I got to see this first 3 phases of Marvel completed.
It sounds like it's going to be a lot of standalone and not so much.
That might be the way to go, man. That might be the way to go.
Well, they need to have something where these other heroes come together. I mean, even if it's like the Defenders or something.
I don't think that'll happen.
Or the Avengers.
I don't think you could do any of the Netflix properties this soon. Do you? Like the Defenders?
If they do, they better do them good.
Oh, no, not the Defenders, the Invaders. I'm sorry.
Oh.
The Defenders, the Invaders. That would be cool. Like a 1940s or whatever. Like old school, like go back to World War II era and have the Invaders. That would be a cool show.
Yule Carter says Secret Invasion. Dude, they could have worked Secret Invasion right into Endgame.
They could have
ran with it.
They kind of screwed that pooch when they did what they did with the Skrulls and Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Let's move on. Do we want to talk Heroes in Crisis number 8, or do we want to move on?
You can talk Heroes in Crisis number 8.
I wish Gaumer was on. Gaumer, freaking fix your internet. I was trying to think of something insulting. It didn't work out. We'll mention it real quick. Heroes in Crisis number 8 of 9, written by Tom King, art by Mitch Gerads and Travis Moore. This has been such a slow burn, and I think that's why Adam dropped off of it. What issue did you drop off of Heroes in Crisis? Do you remember? I thought you loved it, man.
I was liking it. Maybe 5 or 6.
We finally get answers behind what's going on at the Sanctuary. Wally West, the spoiler alert, this is not Endgame, so I'm spoiling this. If you've not seen it, it got spoiled for me, so I'm spoiling it for you. You're welcome. Wally West sits down and gives a full confession of everything that took place, and he's going step by step through all of the events from the stories, from his perspective of what took place in the story. And I liked it. I've enjoyed this series. I don't know that this is the best conclusion. It leaves some questions, because basically what happened, he couldn't contain the Speed Force, huge explosion, killing all these people. So he goes back in time. He uses the Speed Force, goes back in time, and frames Harley Quinn and Booster Gold. Is basically what happened. That's why when we were reading the story, you're seeing, we thought at one point it was Harley Quinn, then at one point you think it's Booster Gold, but Wally West is to blame for all of it.
So somebody with speed is being a dick.
Well, people are pissed, dude. People are so mad that Wally West is basically a killer, but Captain America, Hell Hydra, I like it. I likes me a good heel turn.
But he's not even he's not even a blatant villain, though. He killed everyone by accident.
Nightwing 222 in the chat says he likes Tom King, but Heroes in Crisis seems too complicated and too long. And I agree with that. These confessions have drug on for so long, and Wally West
that's the best part of the book.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Gaumer, we need you. Fix your internet. I don't know, man. Tom King's getting death threats again. He's having to report people on Twitter for sending death threats because they made Wally West a killer.
And if you're at the point in your life you're sending death threats to someone over a fictional character in a comic book, there's if you can't think of anything else better to do with your life.
When did the fanboys become Kathy Bates from Misery?
Seriously, man. I thought Star Wars was bad.
Breaking Tom King's ankles. Make a new ending for Wally West, Tom.
Listen, let's make another comparison to wrestling for the second time in 20 minutes. What do we love about wrestling? A good heel turn, right? When you buy in and you're believing, and then that hero turns evil. Why? And then they validate why. You know, Wally West, you could almost say it was an accident, but then it's like, oh crap, I got to go back and clean all this up because he couldn't control the Speed Force. It's not like I don't know. I don't think that makes him necessarily a killer, but what he did was wrong. But again, it's like this. It's like the Captain America stuff, man. I love that story where our hero turns evil. You sit down and watch some of these superhero movies and they all end the same, right? Story, huge fight, hero comes out on top. Yeah. That's what made Infinity War great. Screw you.
But couldn't he run back? Gone. Couldn't he run backwards in time and just reverse it?
Well, he went backwards in time and messed with the evidence to make Harley Quinn and Booster Gold look like they were the ones that did it.
So why couldn't he just go back in time before he did the thing?
And be like, no, please don't do that. You know, I'm you from the future, and this is really messing things up.
That's it. That's like in the Marvel movies when they use the ring or the circle things and cut off the dude's hand in Infinity War. It's like, well, why didn't you just use that thing to cut off someone's head or cut off the gauntlet from Thanos' arm? It's like, why is that the only time that was done?
Hashtag comic books. Comics Misexplained says apparently it's hard to control the Speed Force from destroying everyone around you, which was never a thing before, and now all of a sudden it is.
Well, I feel a lot safer that there's a bunch of speedsters around, right?
He says he doesn't think King knows how anything works and just writes whatever he wants, like a true madman. I think that might be true. It's like, why didn't he go back in time and fix it all? Well, because that's not what Tom King wanted to do.
That's not what you do with the space travel anyways.
Tom King, the Michael Bay of comics.
Explosions!
I've seen people
dude, we're going to have these huge robots and the Flash is just going to vibrate through them and there'll be explosions.
People talk about he hates Batman and he hates these characters and that's why he does that. I like it because it's something different. It's like I talked about with Infinity War. What made it so cool was leaving the theater and it's like, holy crap, everybody died. Even though you know they're going to bring them back, it still makes for a great moment or story at that time. Give me something different. Batman's a detective. Okay, fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. He beats the villain. Cool. Okay. But he doesn't kill the Joker and the Joker comes back 6 months from now and we do it all again.
I got paroled, Batman, because you didn't give me my due process.
That was a big question I had, though, about the whole thing was, he basically covered everything up and planted evidence. Yeah, he's known Barry forever, so he knows what Barry's going to look for. But who's the greatest detective in DC Comics? And
Dora the Explorer.
And he couldn't figure it out? You mean Batman and Barry Allen couldn't figure this out? I don't know. Heroes in Crisis number 8. I've enjoyed it, man. I don't know.
Does Heroes in Crisis have any bearing to what's going on outside of Heroes in Crisis? Because this would actually add a whole other layer to that whole Batman Flash crossover.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It feels to me like it's
Barry kept asking about Sanctuary and all that. So I mean, I'm not reading Heroes in Crisis, but that did kind of stick out to me when I was reading the Batman Flash crossover.
Off your phone.
It feels to me like it's a standalone thing, but like you said, they are mentioning it in other stuff.
I just feel bad all these heroes got killed basically by accident. It just seemed like a waste.
Yeah. Well, I kept saying that. We kept saying that along the way, man. It's been such a slow story. It's like, how's he going to tie all this together? How is he going to make this work? So I don't know. Let's move on. Gotham series finale. Adam, it's your show.
Oh man. This show was not, I don't know if my expectations were so high, but this show I enjoy it was all right. It did not meet my expectations. The one thing, I would say the things that stood out were, of course, the villains, because they've been the best part of the show. So the Riddler, Penguin, their shenanigans back and forth, Jim Gordon and Barbara Keen, with trying to protect their daughter. So Jeremiah Valeska, essentially the Joker, but the word Joker is never mentioned in this as a name in this show. He has been in Arkham as a vegetable, and basically playing out the beginning of Dumb and Dumberer, or which one was the at the beginning where Lloyd Christmas is just acting comatose to fool Harry. That's what Jeremiah Valeska is doing at the beginning in this show, to enact a plan. So this whole time for like 10 years, he's just acting like a vegetable in Arkham. So he finally escapes. He gets his traditional duds, purple duds. And the dialogue they give him in this show is actually pretty funny. He has some great one-liners. Batman is portrayed as a kind of a shadow. He's just out of reach. You never really see him, and I thought that was a great way to look at it. How are these villains that you spent the whole show following? How are they seeing Batman? I was like, that's a great way to do it without revealing Batman blatantly in front of you. And stuff happens, blah blah blah, and then at the very end, we get the reveal of Batman, which I sent you all the picture of. Just kind of wanted to get your take on how he looked.
He looked like a Batman.
Yeah, I like that. I'm talking Endgame numbers. Nobody responds. And then Adam's like, here's Batman. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
What? I don't, because I don't want to do math, man. Forget your math. But
we got 8 in the live chat. Guys, do us a favor, jump over, hit that like button. Continue, Adam.
Hit the hit the in-game numbers. All right. But anyway, I thought the reveal was just I wish they wouldn't
5 seasons too long.
I wish they wouldn't have no, because I thought these last seasons were pretty decent. I just thought they should have kept the Batman reveal vague. Kind of like how they did in that episode of Titans. But we really didn't need to see it. I mean, we got a full-on Jeremiah Valeska portraying the Joker without actually the name or saying, but it's we got an older Catwoman, Selena Kyle. The actress didn't reprise her role for this last episode, so it was an odd episode, but it did wrap everything up, and
the Carrie
Gotham
Russell
is done.
like.
How many seasons was it?
8.
Jeez. See, that's why I won't watch it, because I can't sit down and watch 8 seasons.
Well, you don't really need to watch 8 seasons.
I said smash the like button, not the keyboard, bro.
Who smashed
Sounded
the keyboard?
like you. Let's move on.
No, I didn't smash the keyboard.
Let's talk about some previews for July. What are you guys excited about?
Alrighty.
Dude, how about there's a lot. This right here. Everybody's got to be excited for that right there.
The
Batman White, the next part of the Batman White Knight story. Sean Murphy. Dude.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
What do you mean?
Looks like there might have just been 5 seasons. Yeah, 5 seasons.
Okay.
I never said I was done with my review. So
We're
there you
moving
go.
on.
And no, I thought what was said, what White Knight did, and we're done. We don't need a continuation.
Man, why are you so angry?
Because I'm very angry.
Well, I'd gone ahead and dog-eared a bunch of stuff in the big book, but if you're going to go to the DC book first, I'll have...
No, dude, go wherever you want. We don't have to...
DC book. I'll just Batman Secret Files #2. That's what I'm excited about.
What about Batman? A lot of Batman. Batman Last Night on Earth, which it's number 2 also. But Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, they said it's going to tie into their whole Court of Owls stuff.
Wow.
Wow.
I saw something. They're like, this is it. This is the end. Is it really? Is it really? Capullo and Scott Snyder aren't going to do any more Batman. I don't know that I buy that. What about the Doom Patrol stuff, Adam? You going to read that?
I might actually.
I entertained the idea, but I'm actually going to say probably not because the Doom Patrol TV show has spoiled me, and it's not going to be.
I'm not even going to read the first page of the comic because the TV show was so good.
I'm not watching the Doom Patrol TV show, but I'm probably on board for this Doom Patrol because I did like Gerard Way's take on Doom Patrol. It was pretty fun. In the big book, over on page 50, Unearthed #1, Colin Bunn and Kyle Schramm with Baldemar Riveras.
Comics Misexplained asked if that was Azrael teaming up with the Joker, and yes, that is what's going on in Curse of the Whatnot. Sorry, David. Which one was that? I saw Cullen Bunn had he had an Image. Was it an Image and also a Dark Horse? I think
it's in page. It's the one in Image, page 50. A flesh warping disease ravages a remote village in Mexico. A scientific task force travels to the inhospitable area to investigate the contamination, tracing the source of the disease to a nearby cave system. The team discovers a bizarre, hostile ecosystem and supernatural revelations from which they may never escape. It seems pretty interesting.
Is Cullen Bunn's problem though that his stories are always very, 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 very similar?
Yes.
I mean, he writes horror. Actually. He writes horror great, but it's just like, I don't know.
They all seem, but there's a 3-page preview of artwork and story, and then on page 54, there's Reaver #1, Justin Jordan, Rebecca Isaacs, and Alex Gutierrez. I'm slaughtering these names. This looks interesting. Kind of I guess an alternate history fantasy kind of deal where there's the continent of Madreas was promised for a new start for settlers, but after 200 years of war, basically they're building like a fantasy type Dirty Dozen. And there's a 1-page spread on that.
Grand Theft Auto San Madreas.
Something like that. I know when Gomer gets his internet back, we're going to do a full preview show. So I'm trying not to go through a bunch of stuff. Because I've got stuff dog-eared throughout this book.
Yeah, we don't have to do that. I'm just curious what you guys were fired up about.
I am also excited for the return of Analog.
Oh my gosh!
How long has it been? It's been a while.
It's so good too.
It's like Johnny Mnemonic without the digital. So that's pretty fun.
Black Hammer Justice League team up.
Yeah, that was one that I was kind of saving for Gomer.
Sorry, Gomer.
But that one does look like it's going to be a lot of fun.
July 3rd. We can move on. We don't have to talk about it. You guys can listen to This Geek in Comics whenever they get time to record. Once Gomer gets his internet fixed, and they're going to do a full preview show.
Yeah, we do a full preview show where we go through stuff. But if I just wanted to hit some highlights and stuff,
there's also Ahoy Comics, the Second Coming book.
Second Coming issue 1 that was supposed to be DC's book, and they kind of backed out of it.
And Marvel's Punisher Kill Crew. Marvel's Epilogue, a brand new Marvel story, evidently.
Okay.
That looks pretty good. And we got giant-sized Ecstatics.
Dude, I added so much crap to my
over on Boom Studios at page 216. Ghosted in LA, #1 of 12. Seems like an interesting premise for a book. Saina Grace, Solaban Keenan, writer and artist here. A couple other things, just real quick to touch on. I'm just jumping through. I dog-eared the Second Coming, so you've already touched that one. There's they have the Castlevania Netflix figures based on Netflix from Castlevania. We're getting Archie versus Predator 2, which if you read the first series, that's a pretty fun read, highly unexpected. And this is also written by Alex DeCampi, who wrote the first series. So I'm expecting good things from that. Boundless Comics, they have a lot of variants, but that's about all I'm going to say. Ha ha, Gaumer. Gaumer will get that joke. And if you listen to This Geek in Comics, you get that joke.
I just skip over Boundless.
I think Gomer left. He got pissed. He's gone.
I think he came back.
It's probably his internet.
Yeah, I just.
There's Gomer.
I'll guess I'll leave it like that
Gomer.
so we can have a full show when Gomer gets his internet back.
There's also Spawn
299
leading up to 300. 300.
That cover is another homage to McFarlane's previous works, and the artist on that book, Jason Sean Alexander, is a friend of mine.
When was the last Spawn book you read, Adam?
When it was still in double.
That's what I thought.
No. When they released the director's cut, they released I think it was a special edition of like issue 1. That was the director's cut, and that was pretty recent.
We got a bunch of stuff from Marvel. The Hickman X-Men books are coming out. I thought it was funny that that Loki series, which we had already touched on that, they announced it. Loki's dead, but there's a new ongoing Loki story coming out. So whatever. Let's move on. Let's talk about some comic books. Let's talk about Ascender #1.
Ascender #1.
It's Asunder.
It's Ascender.
He rendered me asunder.
Sundering Titan. Yeah, that's illegal in EDH. This is Ascender #1. Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen on writing duties, with Dustin on the art duties. And we have Steve Wands on letters. And as usual, I don't necessarily see a colorist for this book.
Colors by Crayola.
It's watercolors, so it may actually be.
Dustin did the colors. That's his gimmick.
That's his thing. It's like all watercolors. So this book is the sequel to the previous series, Descender. It takes place 10 years after the events at the end of Descender. I guess the galaxy, the technology in the galaxy has collapsed because the new villain, Mother, is like a vampire witch. And she arrives on a planet in a dragon or a creature they refer to as a spaceship, and it kind of looks like a dragon. Vampires are very prevalent in this book, and does a lot of jumping around for a book about post-technology to different worlds. But apparently, people are still able to travel between planets. But the Galactic Federation Coalition, I forget what it is exactly called, is collapsed. There's remnants of it, but darkness is spreading through the galaxy, and Mother is concerned because after a recent battle with the UGC, they take a prisoner, and the prisoner reveals that there is another magic wielder in the universe that's aiding them, and this magic wielder is a agent of light, or is the light side to Mother's dark side. And there's a discussion about that. When the prisoner is being interrogated and pressed for questions, the prisoner just simply evaporates, disappears, and a robotic head is left behind. And it's, robots are supposed to be banned, outright gone in this galaxy, I believe now. they're not supposed to exist anymore, apparently. And here's the remnants of one head. So we jump to another planet, and we meet a young girl who kind of lives in the mountains away from the city. And we know that Mother's presence is felt pretty much throughout the galaxy, apparently, because we have like these winged imp looking things. They're like, Mother is always watching. Mother loves you. So it's kind of like, she's making herself very well known throughout the galaxy and kind of building a religion on that. The girl's trying to trade some stuff for food and gets stopped by some guards, and they're going to take her away because she has no identification or something, and something happens. Some kind of rune is revealed, and she gets away from the guards. And then she goes back to meet her father, who is one of the main characters from the Descender, and it turns out that she is the daughter of Ify and I forget what his name is. The father's name, Jake. But this little girl is Mila, and she is the child of Ify and this character. I forget his name. Shit. But things start happening. She's telling her father, if we had identification or I could be one of the saved, I could go to school and not live up in the mountains. And her father is really resentful of these statements because her mother did not like, Mila's mother did not like the vampire mother. So, but it's really weird. It's really weird.
Me and Adam fell asleep. What happened?
It's kind of weird because there's like another scene in the book where the vampire mother is having a discussion with the witches' coven, and it's all these the spirits of deceased witches, and they're always like daughter, mother. It's weird protocol, I would say. But she's concerned about this new mage that has risen in the galaxy and is aiding the UGC. And Mila kind of storms off from her father, is sitting, and who should show up but a robot that was friends with her father's little friend, or robotic brother, Timmy.
His sister's brother's high school former college roommate.
What does that make us?
Absolutely nothing.
Every time this kept reminded, like, as you talked, I kept thinking of the movie Psycho with Norman Bates and Mother.
Mother. But Mother is
Mother likes me in a closet.
A dark magic wielding vampire, I guess. It's weird. It's kind of a big difference. It's a big difference because Descender was very technologically based. Now we have like this magic based technology in the same universe. It's the wake of the destruction in what happened in the previous series.
It's interesting that you bring that up because that's what turned me off from the book. It's a sci-fi fantasy comic book story.
It's going Star Wars is what it's going.
Well,
because Star Wars
too fantasy. Well, I mean, I guess I like science fiction. I'm fantasy. I'm not a big fan of. So when it's a sci-fi fantasy and it goes a little too far fantasy, they lose me, and that's what happened here. You read all of Descender, right?
I didn't read all of Descender. I read most of it. Yes.
How much of this do you think to enjoy it you have to know that Descender universe?
I think there's some stuff that I need to go back and read again.
Because I don't really know where I'm at on this book. The artwork is phenomenal.
The artwork is phenomenal.
Fantastic.
I love the artwork. I love the pacing of it. I love the coloring of it. I really should have brushed up on Descender before I probably read this book.
My favorite part of the book was the middle portion where it was focusing on, was it Mila? Is that how you say it? Mila and her dad?
Mila and her dad.
That was great, man. And then there was just
Jovovich?
too much fantasy. But I don't know. I like that the cliffhanger was okay. I guess it did kind of make me want to go back and read that first volume of Descender and see if there's enough there for me to.
Oh, this is not the first volume of Descender you'd have to read. This is like,
I know
the end that you'd have to read to kind of understand what happened.
But I own the first volume. That's why I'm saying that.
That's kind of where I kind of jumped off, was about midway through it. So I have to go back and find it. It's just, I can't remember the dad's name.
Adam, what'd you think of it?
I like the art, but I'm not going to follow the story.
I'll probably pick up the second issue to see where it goes.
Did you read it or flip through it, Adam?
I like the art.
Cool, bro. Don't worry. I got a good one coming up here in a little bit. Let's move on. Ghost Tree number 1, IDW Publishing, written by Bobby Curnow, art by Simon Gain, colors by Ian Herring, with Becca Kinsey. I guess Becca handed him the Crayolas. Letters by Chris Mowry. This was so freaking good, dude. This was a great comic book. It reiterates for me that it's about character development. I don't need this overly complex world. This is a story of family, and it's got that little bit of supernatural twist to it, but it's the story and the characters that I love. We meet this little boy with his grandfather. He's playing around in the backyard using his imagination, and the old man takes him out into the woods to the ghost tree. And he doesn't really talk a whole lot. He doesn't explain a whole lot about what they're doing out there. And he just tells him.
Yeah, there's like some explanation, like, I knew you would follow me, curious minds think alike and all that.
Yeah, but no real
explanation.
No real detail.
As to why we're taking this sudden trip into the woods.
He just tells him, meet me here 10 years after I die. So obviously in a comic book, we're going to fast forward 10 years later, assuming.
Now, readers should know that the boy is visiting his grandfather in Japan, and 10 years later, the boy is living in the United States and comes back to visit in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, they touch on that through the dialogue. We learned that he's going through some marital problems. We learned that his dad. I thought he grew up in Japan, or he was born in Japan. His dad moved to the U.S., so that's where he was raised. Either way, it doesn't matter. That's irrelevant.
Well, Brant's a very Japanese name.
Anyways, he's returning back to Japan. And it feels like almost like a reunion. He's meeting his cousin and his grandmother, and there's a lot of talk about, it's not going into any specific detail, but there's some stuff going on with him and his wife. And he's kind of rummaging through all this old stuff in his room. I'm assuming his room or a guest room, whatever. He comes across this picture, and you can just tell there's something about this picture that makes you raise an eyebrow. It's Brant with another young girl. We don't really learn a lot. Again, they're giving you stuff and making
Mikiko?
you think.
Or Makiko?
Arami. I thought it was Arami.
I think I have to double. I thought it was
irrelevant. But anyway, as he's going through
unacceptable.
Oh my gosh. I'll get through this review in a minute. Man. Anyway, he's going through this reunion and all this stuff, and the ghost-like image on the cover starts to pop up. Eventually he makes his way out to the ghost tree, and you learn exactly what it is. And he meets his grandfather there, and his grandfather tells him, I think I messed up. I don't know that you should have come here. He tells him to go home and return to his family, but instead Brant chooses to stay and listen to the stories of the ghosts, which they're all gathered under this tree. It looks creepy. It looks awesome.
It's supposed to be like his ancestors.
But the cool part of the story for me is the little girl in the picture, the young girl in the picture steps forward. Man, it was. I have to know more. I got to know.
I don't think she stepped forward. I think she's still in hiding.
She's there, bro.
There.
Do you want to do the review? I'll just mute myself.
No, I don't want to do the review. I don't think she necessarily steps forward through a field of ghosts when this the creepy.
She was nowhere to be seen, and then she stepped forward into the main panel.
Oh, hi there, but
Boogie, is this going on your pull list? Is it put it on the pull list?
Is it going on your pull list, Boogie?
Put it on the pull list.
Are you going to continue reading it?
No, I'm going to read it for free via outright Geekery review copies.
Yay! Good for you.
Put it on the pull list.
Now that I painfully got through
I've got to know.
Jeez. It's going to let David do them all from now on.
No. But yeah, it's I like this book. I definitely am going to pick up issue 2. It's got enough of that supernatural weirdness to keep me interested, and I want to see where it goes.
Would you like more of the supernatural aspect, or did you like the family dynamic of the story? It's a good mix. It's a good mix.
It's a good mix because most of the ghosts under this tree are supposedly like his ancestors. He still gets to communicate with his grandpa. His grandpa is telling him, I really regret telling you that 10 years ago, and all this. But this girl at the end of the book, she may also be dead because she's.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the chat.
If you
I posted
I just read it.
I posted a picture. I posted a picture on Facebook for a little context.
Come here, Boogie.
Of me in the hospital for my
just for a little context, you know, when the grandfather
pushing through.
His text is different, and then when the girl speaks, her text is just like the grandfather's. So I think the girl, this Arami girl, is dead.
That's what I said, bro. That's what I said.
I don't know if she's necessarily dead. Or
you just said she was. So just make up your mind.
I don't know.
Neither do I.
There's a lot of weird, you know, supernatural things in Japan. So she may be dead. She may be the girl from the freaking Ring, you know.
But you know what? The way this story came across, I gotta know. I gotta find out.
Gots to know.
So that's what's good about it. Adam, how much did you hate this?
I was going through it, and it.
You didn't read this one either, did you? You're
no,
0 for 2.
I felt like it went on so long.
Oh my gosh, I felt like it was over as soon as I started it.
Really, I felt just the opposite. I was so long, and then when it got to the end, it was like, that's it. When the character, I guess the character with the mask or whatever showed up.
Yeah, what's that? Is that? I want to know what that is too, because that's
the only time I got interested. That's the only time I got interested.
So and 2 pages.
Yeah, and it's like I wasn't even that thrilled with the art, which I thought I would like the art, but it never did. It just kind of, it's like the more I went through it, the more I liked it less and less, which was weird. But yeah, I did not care for this book as I thought I would, but I didn't.
I'm not surprised. I guess that's it. We'll move on.
I'm glad I can be predictable.
So you're 0 for 2. Did you even read this one that you're taking the lead on, or did you pull something off the internet?
What, the Punk Mambo?
Yeah.
Punk Mambo.
Hey, you can take as little or as much as you want, because I'm not going to add a whole lot.
Oh my gosh.
Don't tell me you actually liked this one.
Did you straight plagiarize? Or
sorry.
Did you even like this? Did you even earn that money, or did you just rob a bank?
Hey, that would be earning
a little of both.
Take some work to rob a bank, bro. God. It didn't take any work to write this comic book.
God. All right.
Are you searching for an article to read now?
Oh my God. All right, so Outright Geekery says about Punk Mambo. All right, no, I'm short and sweet, like, because I've through the many years we've been doing this, Boogie, I've been trying to get my reviews shorter and shorter and shorter, just to the appetizer.
Man, I struggled on that last one, so I feel your pain.
But Punk Mambo, written by Colin Bunn. This is done by Valiant, by the way. This is Valiant. Art by Adam Gorham, Jose Villarrubia. Gaumer, I bet you're proud of me on that one. Lettering by Dave Sharp, making those sharp letters. So one little blurb of history I did find is that this character Punk Mambo first appeared in Shadow Man number 13 in 2003. So this I guess having her own title is 16 years in the making. The book starts off with Punk Mambo on Grunch Road. She's fighting these creatures who have kidnapped friends of hers. She's trying to track down where they are and save them. During the fight, Punk Mambo, she has this Lao kind of possessable creature. Avazon. I wasn't sure how to pronounce that. Avazon, I think. Sometimes, mostly, those creatures will possess hosts, but in this case, Punk Mambo can actually control the creature. But during the fight, this thing that she's kind of attached to is taken, kidnapped, whatever you want to call it, stolen. And while she's feeling, after the battle and everything, while she's feeling lost, without the Lao or Loa, whatever it's pronounced,
Luau.
This character Marie Laveau offers some convenient help to find it. So, and that's where the book leaves us. This is exactly what everyone's saying it is. It is Constantine in the Valiant universe. But with that said, it's good. If you like Constantine, you're gonna like this. It was a lot of just fun dialogue and battles and stuff, but I wouldn't say it's great or anything like that. And it didn't impress me enough to want to pick up the second one.
Serenity Q in the live chat says Punk Mambo is great. Love her. Just needs a better artist. Love all the new stuff Valiant is doing this year. And that's cool. If you love this, that's awesome. I'm glad you loved it. For me, I felt like
a cool character.
Well, I felt like I walked into a movie theater and sat down in the middle of the movie.
I can see.
I felt like they came out of the gates, guns a-blazing, and I had no idea who anybody was or what was going on. It felt like a bunch of random crap, and I could not invest.
Random crap.
And comparing, man, I'm all up on my microphone. Comparing storytelling styles for this versus Ghost Tree. Like Ghost Tree, I felt like, man, the first few pages, they grabbed me and I wanted to read. I wanted to learn about the kid. I wanted to learn about the grandfather. I wanted to learn about the story, the cover. I knew there was some supernatural. So I wanted to learn. When I read this, I just didn't get that, man. I didn't get that. I just started reading and felt like, I don't care about anything that's happening in this comic. And if for those that dug it, cool. Maybe it's because it's a known character that it came off that way. Yeah. I could sit down and read a Superman comic, and you could throw Superman to the wolves like that, and I'm going to read it and be fine.
It probably would have helped if, and Valiant is always good with, in my opinion, in their physical books, giving you more and not charging you more. So it might have helped if they had put that first appearance in the back of the book, and maybe in each subsequent Punk Mambo issue, give you one of those old Valiant stories in the back, so that you get some background information about this character if you don't know much about it or about her. But I mean, it's a cool character. It is really cool. Stuff like this makes me wonder why Valiant doesn't have their own animated movie line yet, because this would be perfect.
Because they don't have a major studio backing them.
Well, who's going to watch it? Who's going to go watch it? How many issues of this comic are they selling?
Me and Gaumer and Serenity Q26 and other people who appreciate animated movies, who appreciate motion comics.
I appreciate animated
comics
movies.
In motion, right, Gaumer?
I don't know. You know, Marvel's got, their studio backing them, and then DC's got the Warner Brothers animation backing them, and I don't know who you would get to animate a Valiant universe, and I don't know if a Valiant universe would translate well into animated.
You get Hanna-Barbera. Wait, they're owned by there's somebody out there.
Moving on.
Don Bluth.
You didn't read this, right, David?
I did. This is the one book I did not pick up because I thought Adam was going to review something else.
Okay. Let's move on.
I will say that I do enjoy the Dave Barrington covers of it.
I was going to do a War of the Realms update, but Fantastic Four, I was wrong. Fantastic Four wasn't a tie-in. It was the conclusion to the whole Galactus stuck in a mountain storyline. And I have no clue why I'm still reading that book, other than it's the Fantastic Four. But also,
it's his way out.
Thor issue number 12, Thor wasn't even in it. It was a story about Loki, and then Avengers number 18 barely even tied into the event. So this whole war update was a waste of time. Let's get into some random reviews presented by collarandelbowbrand.com. Check them out for the latest and greatest professional wrestling merchandise. Use the promo code ComicCast to save 10% at checkout. I don't have a lot on here, so I'll go first and run through it. Vader Dark Visions number 3, Dennis Hallam, David Lopez. Man, people were pissed about this book. I saw so many threads on Twitter and on Facebook. People were irate, and I was like, what is this about? What happened? I couldn't wait to jump in and see why people were so pissed. And I read it, and I still don't get it. I don't know why people were mad. The story was simple. You got this nurse on an Imperial destroyer that's obsessed with Vader, basically stalking him. She's a psycho. She's a nut job. She's doing everything she can to get close to Vader. And in her mind, she's like fantasizing about falling in love with him and all this crap. And at the end, she sneaks into his chambers while he has his mask off. So he pulls out his lightsaber and he kills her. So what are people pissed about? What do they expect?
That sounds very typical of Vader, actually.
Exactly. I don't know why people are mad. I don't know why they're mad. I can't figure it out. I don't know. Gomer,
it doesn't take much for people to get mad these days.
Gomer, if you read this, let me know in the live chat what you thought about it or what was going on. And then also this week I read some older stuff for Yule. I finished Bendis's run on Moon Knight, which, man, I really enjoyed it. And then I picked up the new Avengers Omnibus, which was also from Bendis. And I've talked about this podcast on the show before. It's called Bendis Assembled, and they basically break down Bendis's Avengers run issue by issue. So every episode of their podcast is it's like 15, 20 minutes, and they break down each issue of Bendis's run. But it's not just New Avengers. It's New Avengers, and then it's all the events that took place throughout it. So it starts with Secret War. I know they've got House of M on there. Dude, they've got so much stuff. They have nothing to do with this podcast. I don't know those guys. I just stumbled upon it. So check it out. It's called Bendis Assembled. If you've read that or enjoy it, give it a listen. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah,
That's all.
If you split up Bendis into Ben and Dis and move Dis over, you get Ben Disassembled.
Disassembled, Dad. Disassembled, Dad.
Hey, if you're gonna plug another podcast, I'm gonna say something stupid. That's the way it works, Boogie.
What? Because I plugged a podcast that ties into what I was reviewing when last week I think you ran down about 14 podcasts for people to listen to.
Well, they were all outright.
They were all in the chat
for most of the podcast.
What'd you read, David?
All right. Because Gomer's not here, I did read Dick Tracy Forever, Michael Avon Oeming on art and writing. A very good nod to the original Dick Tracy comics. I remember Gomer saying that if anybody could pull it off, it would be Oeming, and he did. It's a little bit of I kind of feel like it's an anthology, but it's not, because it seems like there's Dick Tracy throughout the book is working on cases that finally lead him to bust a corrupt politician of some sort. But, they don't call him Dick in the book. They call him Richard. And he's, dealing with, being a cop and, Tess, having a relationship with Tess and, busting criminals. There was kind of like a very sad moment where he, arrested some of these veterans because they were having trouble making ends meet because their rent had gone up so high. And he was like, I feel bad about it, but, the law is the law. Very, very, very good overall nod to those Dick Tracy comics from back then. And in the end, Tracy gets his man. But jumping on, I picked up from Vault, Queen of Bad Dreams #1. Very, very high strangeness book here. It's Danny Lore is the writer and Jody Perez is on the art. I don't even know how to pronounce this person's first name on the colors. And we have Kim.
Josh.
It's like a Dira Balai or something like that. It's very strangely spelled. And Kim McLean on letters. I guess at some point in the future, mankind has created a machine or done something called the Mobius Annex. And now people's dreams can manifest in in life, real life reality. And now we have a police force that goes through and tries to, judge whether these dreams that manifest themselves are a benefit or a danger to society as a whole. A politician's son releases into the world a dream version of his girl, and our judge inspector character is trying to determine if this is something that's good or bad. And that is a really weird beginning to a book. We're probably checking out second issue to see how it goes. I would like a little better explanation about how these dreams manifest themselves and what this Mobius Annex is. But it's enough to keep me interested at least until the second issue. And from Black Mask Comics, we got oh no, it's not Black Mask, it's Scouts. Another Scout comic here. The Electric Black, which is pretty much Needful Things in comic book form. It's a bit of a small anthology of different stories, kind of all leading into one thing. This purse snatcher steals a purse, ends up going to a pawn shop with an item he wants to pawn, and this proprietor of the pawn shop, his name is Julius Black, kind of gives him a story about the history of the item, and is like, well, that's a very interesting item, but I know you're not here for stories, and kind of gives him another story in relation to the item that he wants to give him. And in the end, this purse snatcher gets killed for refusing to take the item. And the story kind of picks up from there, where it's like this purse snatcher had a tattoo or some mark on him that they hadn't seen in 300 years. And so now the story continues about this mark on this purse snatcher. But overall, interesting book. It's a little thick. Really good. Some really good, scary stories in this anthology. A ship in the a crab fishing ship finds a ship in distress, and it turns out the ship's full of gold, but it's also got all these rats on it, and the rats kind of take over the ship. It's really weird. And then we have like this snake oil salesman who creates this elixir, and it pretty much turns people into these flesh-craving monsters under the light of the full moon. Interesting stuff. And that's about it for my random reviews.
That's all, folks. Adam doesn't have anything. Let's move on to.
I picked these up. Check out these beauties.
Man, you would think we would discuss this before the show. Go ahead.
We did discuss this before the show.
Yeah, I know.
Unlimited access. Check that out. DC versus Marvel. You get all the different characters. Like right there, you got Captain America mixed with Shazam, and Superman Blue mixed with Thor, etc. This is my jam. I put this on my toast because it's my jam.
When you
like books from like 20 years ago.
Yeah, when did you buy that?
Yeah, just this last week or something. I found it at a Goodwill, so
Did you read it?
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of
now
you.
You got to review it.
Let's get into the outright geekery.
Nobody wants to hear DC versus Marvel.
Book of the week. OutrightGeekery.com, your one-stop shop for news, reviews, previews, podcasts, everything geek at your fingertips. Owned by the great, the wonderful Ryan Gaumer. Check it out, OutrightGeekery.com. Thanos number one. Thanos.
That is me. Thanos. All right. Thanos number one, which my shop had this previews exclusive cover, which it looks like they just made the background of the cover gray, because I think this is the regular cover also. It's just slightly different.
No, I don't have that. I don't think that is.
That's not the one that I've seen as the regular cover.
That's not the regular cover.
I thought it was cool. And they had Sonic the Hedgehog issue 0. but we're not talking about that. Written by Teenie Howard, art by Ariel Olivetti, colors by Antonio Fabella, letters by someone we mention every week, Joe Caramagna. Give it up. Go ahead. Stand up, Joe.
Joey C.
I know you're listening.
Thanks, because we couldn't read this book without you.
That's right. We could feel it. We could smell it.
We could look at it.
We could taste it. But we couldn't
read it.
Nope.
Kind of like Adam does every week.
Dang, man. Really? Okay. So this book is basically it's Little Orphan Annie, starring Gamora as Annie and Thanos as Daddy Warbucks.
Wait, Gamora was in this book?
Yes, Gamora's in this book.
All 2 pages of it. Sorry, go ahead. Please continue.
Well, I mean, Gamora is basically narrating this story. She's at the very beginning, first page, and she's narrating the story to someone we don't know. Evidently, it's I guess when Thanos met Gamora.
They were in that space diner and all that fun stuff.
Did you go Harry Met Sally with that?
Yes, I just did.
Months earlier, Thanos arrived in Zen Wilbury. I think they make Wilbury cushions there.
Jeez. We got 8 people listening in the live chat. Half of them just left.
But I mean, it's cool. We see their ship, their base ship, the Zero Sanctuary. We see young versions of like Ebony Maw and Proxima Midnight
when they had hair.
Yeah, when they had hair. Back when they were rocking the ponytail. All right. They were like Thanos roadies. So they land on this planet, lay waste or whatever. Thanos or not I just went blank on the guy's name. The blue guy the blue guy that showed up. Help me out here. You know what? We're on live camera.
He lands on planet
This
like
guy.
twice.
This guy. Magus. Gosh, I could not think of that. Magus. Which I don't know that he's shown up in any comics recently, but this is kind of a prequel. Shows up and I mean, really, it's I just kind of I feel like all the stuff in the middle of introducing Thanos, his young crew, his ship, him landing on this planet and fighting people, his interaction with Magus, all of it was just to lead up to the fact of him finding Gamora.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's my problem with the whole friggin' book.
Was him finding Gamora, and we learn the fact that Gamora can also see death. And that's where the book leaves. And I feel like that's what the whole it was neat, but it was pointless.
Yeah, exactly. That's my problem with it, man.
Yeah.
They've been advertising this book and talking about a 6-issue miniseries focusing on the relationship between Gamora and Thanos. And we didn't get that. We got his relationship with a bunch of crew members that have nothing to do with Gamora. And I get some of that. I get some
His
of that.
relationship with a bunch of crew members is most of them die.
Yeah. But you sold me on Serenity in the live chat says, wonder if the Infinity War movie with Little Gamora was inspiration for this book. And it should be.
I feel it is.
That's the story I want. I want to see that relationship. But instead, it goes back to what me and Gaumer talked about with the Captain Marvel comic book. You put out a comic, we read the whole first issue, and then at the very end, you change and say, this is where we're going. Well, why did I just read 30 pages of something that has nothing to do with the story you're going to tell me. And that's what I did in this book. I read everything that had nothing to do with where we're going to, why not just make this a 5-issue miniseries? The last 5 pages should have been the first 5 pages, not the last 5. And that's my problem with this book. I love Teenie Howard. I think she's a great writer, and I think she is probably going to deliver a story that I like. But this is typical Marvel sucking $5 out of our wallet for something that means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of this story. That's what pisses me off.
It's selling a book because of Endgame.
Yeah,
pretty much. It's
which always irritates me, and you can see it though. You can see it if you look at when movies are slated to come out. Like when Far From Home comes out, how many Spider-Man books you think we're going to get?
Well, there's already 75 on the shelf.
Yeah, but how many more are they going to do?
Oh, I know that, and that's fine. That's fine if you want to market it that way. But give me the book that I expected to read. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, this needed to be more focused on Thanos and Gamora. If you wanted to show us him meeting her, yeah, first 5 pages.
Right, exactly.
And then start that interaction, that book of an interaction between Gamora and Thanos. Thanos trying to earn Gamora's trust and things like that. That relationship. Yeah, this was they tried to put little kid Gamora and the fact that she could see death as the hook to get you on the next issue. It shouldn't have been the hook.
The hook is I want to read the book that you promised me, so I'm going to read issue 2 as issue 1. That's the whole problem.
You're going to read issue 2?
I'm going to read the whole series because I love Teenie Howard, I love Thanos, and I want to see Thanos and Gamora. I just didn't get it in issue 1.
I think I'll wait. I think Teenie Howard is in the previews. I think doing the Death's Head book.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll definitely pick up that issue. But as far as this Thanos goes, I'm not picking up a second issue.
I wouldn't pick up a second issue.
No,
not for $5.
The second issue, I would imagine, won't be 5. It'll be back to $3.99. But still,
Origin stuff. I like Origins. Comics Misexplained. I like Origins. But it's like I'm not comparing it to this, but like the live action movie, The Grinch. I liked it because it gave you more background on the character. It gave you more origin. This book is supposed to be about the origin of the relationship of Thanos and Gamora. And this first book, I felt like it focused on a lot of other stuff before even getting to that.
If this was just advertised as a Thanos book, then it would have made perfect sense, and I wouldn't be as hard on it right now as I am being. And the artwork was sloppy, dude. Some of it would look good, and some of it would look awful. When Thanos is walking off the ship and he's got 2 of his goons with him, and they're like way up here, and it's like, why are you jumping? What are you doing? This looks horrible.
Thanos looks like disproportionately sized compared to a lot of his other people. And then there's that whole scene where he kind of like comes up to the Magus, and it's just like, okay, is he floating or something?
I couldn't figure out the style they were going for. It was just all over the place.
It wasn't good. I mean, pacing, the story, the sequential art was kind of terrible.
Yeah. Look at them. Why are they way up in the air? Why are they flying over his head and acting like idiots?
Maybe they're idiots.
Everybody knows you let the tank go first.
It looks ignorant, man. What'd you think overall, David? You really hadn't said much about it.
I did not like this book.
Thanks.
I
didn't kill my wife.
I did not murder her.
I did not murder her. I did not like this book. I felt the art was terrible. The pacing was off. The sequential art was awful. The price was a little too high, and pretty much it was just all not great.
I
can't praise this book any because that's just not a good book to begin with.
Let's rate it and move on. I give it $1.99. I should throw it in the discount bin out of spite, but I like Teenie Howard and I refuse to do that.
I would probably put it in the burn pile.
Oh, wow. That's a new one. We've never burnt a book before.
I would put it on my toilet paper roll and use it as needed.
Adam, what do you rate it?
Man, I'll jump in there with you. $1.99.
So $1.99 and the burn pile, a new.
Are you
rating.
seriously doing the burn pile?
The burn pile's not new.
It's
It just hasn't been used before.
bro.
It hasn't been used in a
Oh
while.
man, you can at least line your bird cages with it.
I'll tell you what. I'll put
use.
it in the discount bin, but it needs to go on the burn pile.
Oh, dude, Comics Misexplained. That's the greatest line. I hope Gamora pulls a Varsity Blues and tells Thanos, "I don't want your life." I love that, man.
If I get the Infinity Stones, you won't have to worry about that.
Is that the name of this podcast?
I can't change it. It's a live stream, bro.
Oh, but I mean, once you
I can change it after I upload it.
Okay, change that to "I don't want your life." Thanos.
I'm pretty sure Endgame will get more clicks, so we'll just leave it. New Comic Book Day, May the 1st, 2019. I hope you guys remember what's on the Book of the Week poll. So, David, give me a couple of things you're excited about.
Okay, just to make Matthew mad for his comment about manga.
Oh, God.
Going for hate, brother.
Battle Angel Alita, Mars Chronicles, Volume 6.
And that's all you're going to read this week.
No, that's not all I'm going to read, but that was the one I had pulled up real quick.
We got to read.
Let's see. Transformers #4. Really not anything in Marvel coming out, or not Marvel, Image coming out this week that I'm really looking forward to. It may actually end up being a very light week. Punchline #6. Really, Batman Ninja Turtles 3, #1. And that's about it, really, for non-Book of the Week stuff.
We got War of the Realms #3. I saw some of you guys talking about it in the chat. I'm digging it too. Looking forward to talking about War of the Realms #3 next week. Uncanny X-Men #17. Gaumer will hopefully be back with internet next week and bring you up to date with the X-Minute. Other than that, I guess Black Hammer 45 #3. David, you're still reading that, right?
Yeah, I'm still reading that, but I figured you were probably going to mention that, so that's why I held off.
I'm digging that book. Adam, what do you got? Anything exciting?
I mean, there's a lot of. I didn't hear anyone talk about Savage Avengers. Oh wait, is that on the poll?
That's my fault because I didn't tell you guys what I was picking. That's cool. Keep going.
Okay. Well,
I got your all's picks and never said anything.
Good pick.
I thought you would pick it. Honestly, I was surprised.
No. There is 2000 AD Rebellion has a 99-cent villains takeover special. Looks kind of interesting. Just because I want to say the name of it, there's a book called Floppy Cop.
Oh my word! Seriously?
Yeah, it's from Source Point Press. Yeah, it's called Floppy Cop. I just wanted to say that. There's, I thought there was one more thing, but I'm not. It's leaving me. I mean, it really is a bunch of random stuff. Oh, there's the DC villains, some kind of 25-cent whatever DC Year of the Villain #1. That I'm all about the villains, so rock and roll.
I think are they doing that on Free Comic Book Day? Or they get maybe Dwayne just does that.
I don't know. I don't think it's Free Comic. I could be wrong. I mean,
you're right. I saw it was 25 cents, so we'll see.
It might be like that other one they did before, probably. Floppy Cop #1. Floppy
Is
Cop.
Dr. Manhattan in that? Is he the floppy cop?
Pull over.
Dude, him with like some of those police officer shades with like a full mustache. I would read that.
Right meow.
He's got a baton. Right, oh, wait a minute.
Why is it so floppy? I think it's more like a whip. Let's talk about the Outright Geekery Book of the Week poll. You can follow us at ComicCast Pod on Twitter and place your vote. I just posted it, so if you want a spoiler alert, you can jump over there and cast your vote. Gomer's not with us. He'll be back, but his pick was Star Wars Age of Republic Han Solo #1 from Greg Pak, Chris Sprouse, Terry Dotson, Rachel Dotson, The Scoundrels Code. After helping destroy the Death Star, Han Solo is ready to cash in his reward and return to life as a scoundrel. But when Luke Skywalker asks for one last favor, Han gets pulled into a rebel mission that might wreck all of his plans. Co-starring Chewbacca, what is this, a movie? And introducing Akko, an old friend who might actually out-scoundrel Han himself. Rated T for teen. Star Wars Age of Republic Han Solo #1. Adam, what do you got on the poll?
Floppy cop. I got from DC. We got Deceased #1 by Tom Taylor, Trevor Hairsine, Stefano Guadagno, James Heron, and Capullo. I guess I'll read the whole thing. Well, I mean, it starts out with let's see. A mysterious technovirus has been released on Earth, infecting 600 million people and turning them instantly into violent, monstrous engines of destruction. In a world, the heroes of the DCU are caught completely unprepared for a pandemic of this magnitude and struggle to save their loved ones first. But what happens to the world's greatest heroes if the world ends? New York Times best-selling writer Tom Taylor returns with a terrifying new tale and is joined by artists Trevor Hairsine and Stefano Guadagno. This is probably rated T for teen.
You went from the trailer guy to Michelangelo the Ninja Turtle, back to the trailer guy. David, what do you got on the poll?
Okay, when Gomer revealed this to me, it blew my mind.
Floppy cop.
Because at that point in time, I didn't think these books had a shared universe, but 5 years, issue 1 by Terry Moore. 5 years weaves the many strands of the Terryverse into one epic saga. Years in the making, a dangerous paper written by Lilith has been leaked to the nations of the world containing a formula for the ultimate weapon, and now labs all over the globe are attempting to build and test the Pi Bomb. Tammy, an all-out effort to find the labs and stop them, has enlisted the help of Ivy Raven, Julie Martin, Rachel, and Zoe. Meanwhile, Katku and Francine have moved their household, including the kids' new bodyguard, Samantha Locklear, to a beach where Katku devises her own solution to the problem. This is Strangers in Paradise. Rachel Rising, Motor Girl, and the other book that I'm drawing a blank on right now.
Mary Jane Loves Peter Parker.
No, not that one.
Floppy cop.
Floppy cop. I think you got a lot. I mean, that's a lot.
What is it? It's every book that Terry Moore has done is really an interconnected universe now.
So he's turning it into like the Archie universe.
He's bringing all these characters together with 5 years to save the world. When Gomer told me that these books were all connected. Rachel Rising, what was the other one he did? Oh crap! I'm drawing a blank on the fourth one. But when he told me this, when he said like they're all connected, and I'm like, what? No way, because the books are so different that I didn't think they existed in different. I thought they were like their own standalone books. I didn't think they existed in their own universe. But this is basically all of them coming together. This is like the independent Avengers. Indie Avengers.
See, I know the one book. I know of the one book. The not Rachel Rising. What was the first one?
There's Strangers in Paradise.
Strangers in Paradise, because that lasted like, was it 75 issues, 81 issues?
Yeah, it lasted a very long time.
But that's all I know. I mean, I really don't know anything about these books. I'm assuming you've followed all of them.
I didn't follow Motor Girl and I didn't follow Rachel Rising, but I did follow Strangers in Paradise. And then I followed, I'm trying to find it. Echo. That's the one.
Echo. I've heard of that. Who wrote that? Who wrote
Terry
that?
Moore. Terry Moore wrote that. That's his book.
That's the whole unit. Yeah. I've heard of that. I've heard of that somewhere.
Put out Strangers in Paradise for like 25 years ago. Then Echo was the follow-up book. Rachel Rising came after that. And then he had that book Motor Girl. And then he put out Strangers in Paradise 25, which was, the story that picks up 25 years later. But those 4 books are all connected. And when Gaumer told me that they were connected, I did not realize that at the time. I thought they were all standalone books. And this series, 5 years, is bringing them all together into one big story.
Let me run down my pick real quick, and then we'll get out of here. I'm going with Savage Avengers #1. Jerry Dugan could be confused with Duggan. Mike Deodato, David Finch. The most savage, most unkillable team of characters in the Marvel Universe is assembled. Wolverine, Venom, Elektra, Punisher, and in their midst, Conan the Barbarian. Conan has returned to the Marvel Universe, and his new adventure begins here. What is the City of Sickles? Who is the Marrow God? And how is the Hand involved? The roughest, most dangerous characters rumble through this new title, starting with Conan versus Wolverine. Enough said. Rated T for teen. Savage Avengers.
The last barbarian.
Jump on Twitter at ComicCastPod and cast your vote. Right now, Deceased is running away with it. I don't think it's even going to be close. So jump over there and vote. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for ComicCast issue number 141. Thanks to everybody that joined us in the chat. Honestly, my favorite part about live streaming these shows, other than not having to edit anymore, is the interaction, man. Comics Misexplained, Serenity Q. I think this is the first time you've joined us. You've been fun interacting with, obviously, Yule when he has time to jump on. I know it's a tough time for him to jump in with us in the afternoon. But if it's your first time joining us every Sunday afternoon, probably be a little late next week, but typically we shoot for 2 p.m. Eastern time. So jump back in, subscribe to the S&B Network on YouTube, and you'll get notifications when we're going to live stream. Anything else you guys want to hit on before we jump out of here?
Because I'm Conan, the last barbarian. He's my friend and a whole lot more.
I'm glad you did that. Thanks for adding that in there.
Yeah, Denver the Last Dinosaur, but with Conan.
Wow. It must not have been very good because I didn't catch that Denver the Last Dinosaur.
I'm sure everyone else got it.
A little after your time.
What? We're the same age, bro. Oh, man. David, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Everybody have a great week.
Find me at Floppy Cop.
Yeah, where are you on the Twitter machine, Adam?
I'm at Adam Wade Adams.
David?
I'm at _ aka David _
I'm at Boogie Bentley. That's going to wrap it up for ComicCast issue number 141. Be sure to hit up Dwayne's World Comics and Games this week, and we'll see you guys back here next Sunday on the S&B Network via the Outright Geekery Podcast Network.